So I'm managing my own personal page, and then our plus size page, and then my cousin's page, because she's fairly new to social media, so she doesn't know the ins or outs or what algorithm is. And so I'm trying to help her with that.
Mhm.
And I just told her, for anything, if like, I just told her not to ever try to portray herself as someone else.
Right.
Because her job, people only will come to you. You'll attract people and have authentic, real followers if you're genuinely your free self.
I really need to actually hear that today. I'm like looking for all these people. And I'm like, yeah, they'd be really cool to talk to. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't make sense with any of the other stuff I've ever done. I'm glad
You
you said that.
froze out a little bit there. But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I just needed what you said. It made like, every once in a while you get caught up in things. You keep trying to like do more, build more, and then it takes you
Right.
out of the zone where you were actually being yourself. So,
Yeah. And one thing that I have to say is, like, I'm not consistent on my page, but it's because I'm so focused on what I'm doing on the plus size side of it,
mhm.
that I'm constantly busting my butt to bring content out for that page.
Right.
And because we're getting so much traction from not only the community here in Salt Lake, but other women that are outside of Salt Lake. And what a time for it, because everyone's stuck in the house, you know?
Right. And they're about to be stuck again in the house.
Right, right. So that's why I'm like, this is such a, we're following CDC guidelines. Whenever I do a photo shoot, we're not, we're not gathering more than what we're allowed to. We have hand sanitizer, mask. I have all of that on the photo shoots, and it it helped me. Like, the photo shoots helped me to stay in my passion, and my passion is really people, like connecting with people.
Yeah.
And you know, I haven't found what I want to do as a career, and that's so funny to say, but it's so true, because I'm a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot of the things that I do. I'm good at them, but I haven't found something that I can say, like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Life. Yes.
I just want, honestly, just to be able to work with people, and um just to be able to, there I don't want all the riches in the world. I want to be able to take care of my family
Yeah.
and to inspire as many people as I can. There isn't anything that is, like, that you can say that's of this world that I just have to have my hands on.
Yeah.
It's just that, really, I really want to leave my mark on this earth, and leave and say I lived the best life that I could,
Yeah.
and I helped as many as I could too while I was living.
I have known you personally for like, I would only say 4 years. Only 4 years. I mean, I knew who you were. I mean, I saw you
Yeah.
that time when you shaved your head. That was awesome. I was like, who is that? Oh, who is that? Yeah. But I am going to say that every single day you actually do make a difference in this world. Like you
Thank
really are
you.
one of those humans that lift people. You lift people and inspire people to be okay with who they are in that way where, it's like, how do I explain it? The first time you and I ever talked, you said some things to me that, like, I didn't react, but everything in my body was challenged. And it was just like, it was just your story and your journey of self-acceptance and self-love. And when you're telling me things, I was like, oh, that hurts. I haven't done that. Oh, I don't want to. And I tell you, like, there were many, many times that I thought on all the things that you shared with me the day that you and I were together, but also even before that, when I just was watching you from afar and saying, okay, now who's this Ashley? Who's this? Who is this? And then of course I know your brother, and he's like, he is down for you, just like all your
Yeah,
siblings. Yeah, and I love it.
they are. That's so true. They're definitely, I don't know, as much pain as they can give me sometimes. I mean, one thing's for sure, they're always on board with whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that from them. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. So real quick, what are you doing with this, with the whole plus size scene? Because I am loving the content that you're putting out there. I love it.
Thank you. So it was something that was only thought up in December. I met up with my business partner Buki. We met for the first time. We were like, we need something for plus size, for it to become a conversation, a regular, normal thing.
Mhm.
And so we came up with this fashion show. And due to COVID, we were supposed to have it in August. We already had a casting just when we were right at the midst of COVID. We were right there, and I tell you, the cast when we did the casting, Buki was like, "Oh, I went to a model casting, and this is how they did it." And I was telling them, "No, we're not going to do it that way. We're not going to number the girls. We're not going to have them
Yeah.
come in, walk once, and whatever." I told her, "I speak big girl, so we're not doing that."
Yeah.
I was like, "We're gonna have them come. We're gonna ask them what it means for them to be plus size." And all the answers that were given, I loved it. And I asked them, why did you come here today? And why did you want to come in um, to the casting? What inspired you to come? And so many of the women were like, well, it's never been done before. And we've never done this. And we want to see our body types on the runway,
Yeah.
which is so true. Here
Yeah.
in Salt Lake, we will be the first plus size fashion show here in Salt Lake. And
Nice.
this type of thing that we're doing has never been done. So for people, it's like, oh, dang, like what's going on? What's the move? And it really is to start having these real conversations and dust aside or break down those insecurities and those walls of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm too shy or because no one's really gonna fully progress and come from getting out of those insecurities if we're going to be content with where we are. I'm not saying like, oh, you have to, with the plus size, be the big girl that you are and only be big. No, I'm saying let's have a regular conversation. Let's strip away all our insecurities like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm too big to be part of this thing, or I can't travel because I'm big. No, let's figure it out together. Let's be confident together, because all these girls had mentioned all had said that they lack confidence in one way or another. And me, I am probably at my biggest that I've ever been in my life,
Mhm.
and I still feel damn beautiful and sexy. Like there's no one that can tell me anything. Like
Love it.
I I love myself. But that's not to say like, oh, I want to be this size for the rest of my life, or whatever the society puts out there. What I am saying is be comfortable in your body, feel beautiful, know that you're beautiful, and show the world that we're okay with it, but it's not someone else's burden to carry.
There's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. First of all, there's a lot of things you just said, and a lot of them are like, I'm like, what? What? Oh, yes. Just that idea. I love that it's like, this is not accepting, it's not accepting that I'm this or I'm that. I love who I am. Imperfections, perfections. I love who I am. I
Yeah.
love that because, there's so many things culturally speaking, and that's not just like American culture. We also have, our whole Polynesian culture. We have a lot of
Right.
things going for us that put you on the outside, right? They'll put you on
Right.
the outside of everything. And I don't mean you, I mean put the individual on the outside. And
Right.
there's so many things that like are always put out there so that we can feel shameful and we can feel like less than, and there's no representation and there's no hope for better, and there's no way to become part of society or any real part of society, not the fringes, but actually part of society
Right.
without
Absolutely.
like this. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you. I am so grateful for you. I love you.
I'm grateful for you.
I'm a mess, but I love you. So tell me more. Tell me more. What when you brought those girls in for the audition, the ladies in for the audition, was there any answer that really like hit you? Or how, better yet, let's backtrack to where you found your I don't know how to have this conversation where it sounds like I'm like, hey, you found your confidence, you overcame. But at some point there was something that everybody has to get over, right?
Yeah, everybody. The thing that helped me the most was I had to stop allowing others to have an opinion on me. I
Boundaries.
had to, yeah, boundaries. Um, and I had to stop giving people that permission to be like, "Oh, you're big." Even with my own mother, I nip that in the butt. My mom will sometimes say, because she's lost so much weight. My mom has lost over 200 pounds, and she looks damn good, and I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
But the moment she'll say like, "Oh, you could be," or she says, "Oh, I don't like that," and I tell her, "Well, that's too damn bad." And no, you're not going to start me on whatever. When I'm good and ready, that's when it will happen.
Right.
And if it ever does happen, or if I need help, I'll come to you.
Right.
So I had to have a conversation with myself and um, stop allowing people's opinions to get to me, and giving people permission to have those conversations with my body, because that is none of their concern.
Right. Now, how did you do that though? Do you
I
remember where that started?
I think it started. So I think it just started when so I happened to have gone through a really big breakup, and I was
Hmm.
questioning everything. I was like, my worth. I was like, oh, it's because I'm a big girl. He had all this stuff to say and all of that. And I was literally at the bottom when it came to thinking of myself. I'm like, I wasn't myself. And on the outside, everybody was like, oh, she's happy go lucky. But really on the inside, I was depressed.
Yes.
I was in a dark space. And when you're in a dark space, anyone will tell you you can try to do every damn thing. And sometimes nothing will work. But you kind of come to this realization like, oh, this is I found my passion. And what it really was hearing another hearing another and talking to her face to face. And literally it was like me looking at myself, and I was like, ooh, bitch, you get to, that's you. To wake the hell up. And I really had to, it took everything in me to get me out of that darkness. And I was like, no, I'm gonna be me. I'm a freaking boss. I'm beautiful, and I got this. And it took to me being my own hype man to really be like, no, we got to get this. And she not only helped me realize and help me come out of that, like I seen it was like a mirror effect, that I was like, no, girl, we got this. You really have to pull yourself out of that darkness and just be like,
So need you to deep dive into all of that, because all of it makes sense on the surface. And then I was like, wait, okay. There is something that I never quite remember until I talk to you. I mean, whether you and I are like texting online or just, whatever, I can pretend really well that like, I got this. Like,
yeah,
like the inside brain, the one that's like, you're
yeah.
fine, go ahead and just handle your business. I can do that really well all the way up until I see somebody who I really, really, really admire. And then I realize how far I am from really being confident and comfortable in my own skin. You're always one of those people. And I say those people like I've got 5,000. I've got like, and you're one of the people that remind me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just faked half that journey. I need to go back and do this again. So what happened? Like, go back and tell me more about what happened. What did this girl say, or whatever you can tell me. What
It
did
was
you
basically like she told my story, right?
Yeah.
But she was talking about her situation.
Yeah.
And I sat there, we're in the car, and I'm all like, oh my gosh,
I hate that.
you're me. Like,
Stop telling my business.
I know. And it was so crazy because I just broke down and cried. She's like, what is this? I go, I'm dumb. I told her I came to realization that I was like, wow, I really let this guy have a hold on me for so long that I was questioning my own worth. And I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then from there, I really had to sit there and really evaluate myself. As hard as it will seem, I had to sit there and really tear away at myself, you
Oh,
know, because I had to relearn how to love myself. I
yeah.
had to really come to first acceptance, recognizing some of the faults that I have, because the breakup wasn't all on him, and that's what I was doing. I
Yeah.
was blaming so much of it on him.
Mhm.
When in actuality, it took two of us to have that
Right.
when it comes to that resolution that happened. And it took so long, and that I was embarrassed that it took so long for me to realize that I really did have a big part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went through like this really bad drinking phase where I was drinking every day, even, work nights I'd be drinking.
Yeah.
And then I slowed that down. I started speaking to like something that really helped me too was when my sister had come to me and she had said, "Hey, there was this girl. I don't know her, but she came up to me and I feel that we should help her out." And I said, "Oh, well, what is it?" And she was like, "Well, it's a to speak to women of this. I guess it's like women who have been sexually abused." And I was like, "Okay, I'm for it. Let's go." And my sister was like, "Really?"
She's like, you were
And I
down
said, "Yeah."
fast. Yeah.
I was like, "You said, what?" I was like, "Yeah." Before even really sitting and listening and talk about the talking points.
Mhm.
And when we went over the talking points, one of them was to and the girl that had asked her had no information or recollection of who I am,
Right.
and what of our history. So, and I'm very open about things that has happened in the past. So, I can only speak on my story, but my when we were younger, we had been sexually abused by family members, and it was more than one.
Mhm.
And that's revisiting those memories and having to go through that and to speak to these women and girls about that kind of stuff. That was a pivotal moment for me too, to really come. It was kind of like one of those huge things that was part of um, finding myself, finding me, finding my youth. And it's crazy to think that, oh, you had to go, you were trying to come out of this dark place and had to revisit another dark place.
Right. Right.
But really I had to. If it didn't happen, honestly, I don't think that I'd be at the point where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, we went through therapy. But now, being an adult and speaking about it, I can tell you that I can literally take myself back to where I can feel like I'm in that moment. I can smell the smell in that moment. And that for me, I've told this stories so many times to people that ask because I'm very open about it.
Mhm.
But it took for me to share um, such a horrible thing that happened to myself with other girls and women for me to really start loving myself again. As odd as that may seem, that's really what really kind of started bringing me to this like, no, I'm better than this. And speaking to other women who have also gone through it really just helped me find the joy and happiness within myself. I mean, some women and even girls don't get out of that situation or have died with those traumatic things happening to them who have taken that to their grave. Where
Yeah.
for I was super grateful and very fortunate to have been able to use the resources that I had, go to therapy, speak to my parents about it. Um,
Yeah.
and even now, when we talk about this subject, it's still hard for my mom. I mean, and it's very much hard for me, but I tell my story because I want someone to hear it
Yeah.
and know that they're not alone in whatever situation that they're in.
I think there's a lot of power in admitting that something was unjust that happened to you, right?
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say, especially when you are the victim, this was my fault. And in
Right.
some situations, it really has, and especially when it comes to sexual assault, it's not the victim's fault.
Right.
It is
Right.
not your fault. But then to have to acknowledge that, it's really hard because people around you. I saw a post the other day, and I was thoroughly disappointed when I saw it. Um, it was put up by a family member. I'm not even gonna say more than that. It was put up by one of my cousins, and it was a post about if a girl is raped, it's the fault of the rapist, but the girl should also ask herself, what part did you play? And right, exactly. How about this? No matter where you are, what you're doing, if somebody else decides to violate you, the entirety of that responsibility rests on that person, not
Absolutely.
on the victim. But
Always.
yeah, and you and I grew up during the time that it was very prevalent to say, well, what did you do? How were you dressed? Where were you
Right.
that this happened to you, right?
Right.
And that narrative has changed, which I'm grateful for. But it
Same.
hasn't changed to the point that like our generation definitely gets that, or people who are older than us definitely, like as a sweeping, they don't always get that. So the fact that you can actually say, what happened to me was wrong, and to stand up and be an advocate for yourself, I think that's a big part of healing. And I think
Yeah.
it gives other people
Absolutely.
permission to also do the same thing and say, yeah, nope, that was wrong. The other person was wrong in this instance, and I'm going to protect myself going forward.
Yeah. Absolutely. I another. I, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't say that I would say we're no longer friends anymore just because of the situation that happened. But this person had has a YouTube, made a channel basically saying how to not get raped. And in my mind, I
Oh,
was like, okay, let me watch it. I watched it once and it got me fuming mad
yeah.
because this person even said in the beginning, I'm not a victim. And in my mind, I'm thinking, so then why the hell would
But
you,
speaking on that,
oh, yeah, speaking on the matter.
mhm,
I myself am a victim, and I would not say, like, let me make a video about how to avoid it
right,
because it's unavoidable, to be honest. Like, some people, it's in their own families and in their own homes. So how did they avoid freaking avoid uncle there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do they avoid their uncle, their brother? It To me, it's stupid that someone would make that sort of video. So that also played into, and that's what also woke me up to be an even bigger advocate. um I have a friend, we've known each other for so long, and when she entrusted me with her story,
yeah,
I was mind blown. She didn't tell me herself in so many words, but gave me something to read, and I kid you not, I read that thing probably over 100 times, and I cried every single time. Because to a person that really is closed-minded, wouldn't have any idea of what a victim story would sound like,
yeah.
would probably think, oh, it's such a beautiful, um well thought
Articulate,
out poem. Yeah,
yes,
articulate. Oh, it's but to me it was her truth.
yeah,
So, and so from that moment I came in contact with so many other victims, and that again was such a huge point turning point for me, because I thought, okay, let's not say that because I was going through, like I said, I was going through it mentally.
right,
And so what pulled me out was when I'm like, no, I really do need to get out of this darkness and really find the worth of myself, because there are so many little girls that think so less, and that they're being taught to, I'm going to use just Polynesians in general, especially if it's something within the family.
hmm,
What a quote or something that's taught is, whatever happens at home stays at home.
yeah. This is not,
We'll sweep that under the rug and never speak of it again.
yeah.
But not me, honey. I will come after you if my niece, nephew, and I don't care if you're the father, the uncle, whatever,
Yeah,
you're gone. Like it's a no.
that's it.
It's no, that you don't have that kind of thing.
You know, I so appreciate you because it's honestly, it's so many things about that story. I, of course, you know, we talked about this before, but it was years ago that we talked about it. And I remember that that was close to the time when you were going through this breakup dark period. That was the
Yeah.
first time I saw you because we were just talking about that you had changed your hairstyle and everybody was like, oh, I don't know what she's going through. And I was like, man, look at her. She's killing it. What was it, a mohawk? What did you do?
Yeah, it was I had girl, I shaved it and then I started doing mohawks, colored it, and that really was that same time where I was just kind of mentally not all put together.
And you know, the best part is that I saw you at church. That's where I got a glimpse. I'm like, girl, yes, look at you. I mean, the whole outfit slayed from head to toe. And I feel like it was like a white dress, but it was, I mean, whatever it was, you looked great. And then people were just like, well, you know, yeah, she's going through something right now. And I was like, well, whatever she's going through, I think we should all go through something like that. 'Cause she looks good. But you know, I feel like your willingness, honestly, and I can't overstate this, I can't say it enough, your willingness to say it is wrong for these things to happen and it is not okay that they happen to me is such a big permission. But not just in the realm of, like, you know, here we're talking about sexual assault, but also in the way that people treat us,
Right.
no matter what, you know,
Absolutely.
no matter what you look like. If you accept all of those derogatory comments that people want to put out, and they do, you know, and it happens to everybody every day, everywhere, for something. We all feel shame for something. But if you accept it, then you know, then you start living that lie that I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I can't be anything, I can't escape this world. But when you accept and say, hey, nope, that is the part of the story I needed to hear. The part where you really were like, nah, you know what, say what you want to say, but don't say it to me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, continue on.
absolutely.
So what happened after you went and spoke with, did you speak to a group? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so we spoke to a group and it was really hard because one of the girls had her father abusing her for quite some time.
Mm,
And I can only imagine, someone that's supposed to be the protector of you and, who raised you, but to do these foul things to, you could be mentally unstable,
yeah.
unsure. You're not sure if your life is worth living anymore. She was saying,
Yeah.
and, at the time she was only 15. And they got into this program. Her mom, they escaped, this horrible situation. And I was beside myself. I couldn't believe it. Like, there are so many different predators. They come in different shapes and sizes, and
Yeah.
some of them can literally come in the form of a father, and you're so confused. And
What do you do?
what do you do? And so I definitely vowed to myself that I'll always help those who are in need, especially if it's something pertaining to, assault, and especially to my women out there. I will
Yeah.
always want to be a voice for those victims who don't necessarily have their own voice or have even found it yet.
Yeah.
And I also want to be a voice for women who may not know how beautiful they really are or have found the confidence that is literally reaping in their bodies, but they haven't found a way to express it.
Right.
And so these are the things that I know has helped me to become the wonderful woman that I am today. And just because, like, right now I'm 33, that doesn't mean you stop growing. There's so many life struggles that I know that I'll face,
Yeah.
but I'm more wise. I'm more confident in the decisions that I make for myself.
Mhm.
Um, I don't cloud my thoughts with others, um, in their own opinions or their own plan that they have for me. It's me. This is my life. I know what's going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, then that's on me. Nobody has to take credit for whatever. It's all on me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So how did that lead you? So let's go with, you did your public speaking, right? You had come off this breakup that was wrecking your life. Like it was just hard. Then
Yeah.
you find yourself helping people who are also in a dark space.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
And what happens next is I I started going back to church. Um, I I felt like that's kind of, and I don't even know how that happened either. It kind of just all was like such a spring of things going in together.
Mm-hmm.
And then my siblings came along for the ride as well. I met the best bishop that, and still to this day, he's the best bishop. He helped me cope with a lot of things. He spoke to me like not your typical bishop. Like he was straight up, cutthroat, didn't paint anything pretty for me. And I think everybody needs it, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, okay, let me hold your hand. He was like, I'm here, but I'm gonna tell you it's not gonna be easy. This is gonna happen, and are you ready for this? If you're
Yeah.
not, then you don't need to be sitting here across from me. And I was like, oh, okay
Oh,
then.
okay. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that, but okay. He helped me. I was able to go into the temple with my siblings or with my sisters.
Mhm.
And then am I active? No, I'm not. But that doesn't mean
It was
that
still
I have
part of the
less
journey,
faith.
though. Right.
Yeah, it was still part of the journey, and it still doesn't hinder from my faith. I still have strong faith in the church and in the gospel and all that, of course. But it was definitely part of the journey. And started dating again, and
That is
dated
brave.
about.
I say that because I'm not brave, but you were brave.
Well, he wouldn't leave me alone. So, and he is like probably 9 years younger than me. And he barely got off his mission. I was like, "Ooh, honey, I'm like way older than you, and I don't need you to distract. Like, go date around. You need it."
Yeah.
And then he was so persistent, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy! Oh my goodness!" So we started dating, and it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
We ended up not being together, obviously, but it wasn't a bad experience. Like we still
I
are
didn't
friends to
know
this
until
day,
you said obviously.
obviously.
I'm like,
But
oh,
we're still really good friends. And I wish him the best. He definitely helped me to also be more confident. Like he would be like, "Why are you scared to wear, whatever?" Or he would always tell me that I'm beautiful, and it was just like confirmed, like, yeah, I am beautiful, and someone else thinks so too. So it definitely helped the
yeah,
boost the confidence.
yes.
Um, and then after that, I came into luck with working with some really great people. I started working like background with on photo shoots and fashion runway stuff, and came into contact with Auvaa, and I ran. He asked me to walk his show, and I was like, "What?
That was
You
so
want me?"
cool, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I walked it, and I that also helped too, and just being with other like-minded people who are trying to go after their dreams and still figure their stuff out too, their struggles. Being surrounded by that also inspires me and also helps to remind me that I got this and that I'm not afraid of anything, you know?
Oh, wow. So now about that same time, I remember that you started something, I'm going to say I'm going to guess. Is her name Alani?
Oh, Ailani.
Ailani. And then
Yeah.
now I don't remember your other friend's name. I feel dumb.
Bree.
Bree, yes. What were you three working on?
Oh, so basically, because we have the same love for makeup, we just would do random challenges and go live every week, and it was fun. We were doing that, and then we kind of started going into our own things. We're still very, very close friends, and I love those two very, very much.
Yeah.
Um, but now we're kind of like in our own projects, and we still do dabble in a few things together, but I still love those ladies. I mean, we've helped each other too with so much of, not learning different skills as far as makeup, and then also confidence. Like Ailani is she's such a boss, and she has such confidence too, and we kind of bounce off of each other. I love to feel people's energy,
Mhm.
and if the energy is not there, I just don't think like you can really vibe with someone, whether it be professionally or just having a conversation,
Yeah.
friends. Like if the energy is not there, then we're done.
It's like, can we not waste our time? Let's just move
So
on.
like, look, let's just move on. Let's just call it a night.
Just go home. Just go home.
Just go home. Don't take any food, but just go home.
I feel like Ailani was doing photo shoots before. Was she doing it before you?
Yeah, way before me.
Yeah, and I used to love her stuff. I don't know. It was more like the feeling that I get when I look at your work, both of you, was just like it was like everybody in this space can be who they are, which is like so nice to not have that burden, right?
Right, to kind of put on that mask, like, oh,
Yeah.
hey girl, like changing up the voice, or kind of scoping. So I totally get that. I love just like, here I can, with you and we can have real wholesome conversation and not be judged for whatever we say to each other. I
Yeah.
feel like that right there that's real conversation. That's a vibe. That's us being
That's why
able to
I'm trying
vibe
to
off
be
of each
cool
other.
and sit in my closet and be like, it's not coming together, girl. I know it. But
Oh my gosh.
I cannot get over your level of.
Please, you shouldn't even, this whole, like, this is my studio that we're in. And my bedroom's across here, but I have so much stuff from like our photo shoots. We have lights. I have freaking baskets and baskets of lashes, makeup palettes everywhere.
Yes.
It's not pretty out here, but I love that my parents have allowed me to have this space, this studio, and to create and have ideas, and to
Yes.
I literally am in here most of the time. And
Nice.
this is kind of like my way of being out of the world, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm not 1,000% sure. I'm going to leave this next part in, but I'm going to ask. You know Konofa Amoe, right?
Yeah,
Do you guys know each other well?
we do know each other. I went to school with his brother.
Oh, the older brother.
Yeah, the older brother.
That's
He was I think he's a year younger than me.
Got it.
But Kono's definitely way younger than me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's the age of my oldest nephew. Where I'm like,
Oh,
just a baby.
he
Every
is a
time I
baby
talk to
for
Kona, I'm
sure.
like, okay, I look like an egg. It's just flat. I cannot change it. But I've watched your stuff, and I was like, first of all, there's a lot of artistic skill that has to go into putting your makeup on, right? Second of all, she just keeps popping up these new palettes and a new palette and a new palette. I cannot handle this. Let's just go with egg. Let's go with egg. I love the way you can put a beat together. Tell me
Thank
about that. How
you.
long ago did you start getting into makeup?
So with makeup, I kind of I started just trying to sneak wearing makeup without my mom knowing. And then she started to figure it out. And she finally let me wear it when I was 16. She was like,
Yeah.
and not a lot of poly at that time when I was in high school wouldn't. So a lot of poly moms would think like, oh, but it was so funny because they would see me all like have my makeup on, but I'd be wearing sweats and I'd be wearing slippers, and they're like, that girl, what is up with that girl?
But I mean, that beat is tight.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't. And in high school, I had my hair colored all the time too. And so people were like, this girl is like, we don't know you don't have any style, but you come to school with your makeup on every day.
They didn't know.
Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to read me. But people that knew me were like, oh, I didn't have problems when I wore makeup. Like, I still had a lot of guy friends. They were still being cool with me. But then I knew, like, some of them were like, so what's up? I'm like, no, that's not the vibe.
Girl, I did this for me, not for you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people finally caught on that I wasn't wearing makeup for them. I was really wearing makeup because I loved it.
Hmm.
I really just loved it for me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to get Cody to look at me from the basketball team. It wasn't that.
Nice, 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 nice. So then how did you get into actually turning it into like such an art form?
I started doing other people's makeup just for fun.
Hmm.
And then I was invited to help out with the photo shoot. And I was like, oh, this is a big deal. What the heck do I do? I don't even know. I feel like my skills aren't that great. But then that's what inspired me to kind of just like, no, I can do this. Let me start doing weddings. I started doing um, like graduations, proms, and so all that fell into place. I'm kind of steering away from it
Hmm.
now, only because I really want to do something with fashion.
I was gonna say because you're moving into fashion, but you're like moving
Yeah,
fast into fashion.
I know, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's just I've always talked about how plus size hasn't had like a really great place to go and shop, and I love to shop clothes. I've never used to think I'd become one of those girls that like have to have all these outfits, but I am now. So yeah, we're here. Um, but now it's kind of coming to like I want something that's all inclusive with all shapes and sizes,
Yeah.
and more specifically plus size women, and I want to be something in that realm, something that has to do with people, because like I said, I love connecting with people. I love to, if I can share a mere few moments with someone in their life and they can tell me something that's just either so unique or something they would never tell a stranger,
Yeah.
then we were meant to share that moment together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I live for those. I honestly, I know it sounds so strange, but I live for those.
Well, you and me both. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, okay, so for the models that come,
Tell me more.
I'm getting to know a lot of them, and I can't even tell you how beautiful it is when I go through the frames, because I'm this photographer all of a sudden.
Yes, I
Um,
love it.
but I mean, there's just so many. When I take their picture and I tell them like, oh, I didn't edit anything on here, that's all you.
Right.
And when I see their replies, when they message me back, they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's all you, boo boo. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing I did. It's what you did. You just showed out, and that's what it's about." And when I can't even tell you, but we get so many messages from so many women from all over thanking us for doing this because they feel confident, they feel more comfortable, and that's what I want to hear. That's exact that right there is like that's a drug for me. Give me that, and that's like so you have no idea. Like
Show me
I'll
the
sit there.
impact that I'm having is positive for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I it's very emotional. Like when we did the photo shoot with Auvaa, we did hair, makeup all here at the house. We did snacks here. I
Oh, you
did a
guys have a
sorry it's
craft table? I need to come. Was that
yeah,
a
and then
craft table?
we packed food. We had lunch for them when we went, because it was an all day thing. We traveled 2 hours out.
Yeah.
We had the the models look so beautiful, and it was swimsuits. And one of the models had her like an ear, like the sarong thing around her. And she was walking towards Afa, and I told her, take it off. You better take that off. And she was like standing there, and everybody was like, when she took it off, I go, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. You look beautiful. And I go, that's what I'm talking about, sis. And then everybody started cheering. And that for me is like, that's just medicine for my heart. You know what I mean? It's like what I love to see. And
Teaching people to love themselves.
yeah, because I wish everybody could really see themselves through my eyes. I wish I could lend my eyes to someone for to help them to see what I see.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people who wouldn't be happy because I don't see a lot of nice things about you, but like for everybody else that I'm down with, yes, yeah, to see things through your eyes for
Yeah,
sure.
because I sit here so late at night on my laptop going through the pictures, and I'm just like, I'm in awe of how beautiful they are.
Right.
And I admire their confidence, and I admire their bravery to show their bodies when they're not used to that. That it doesn't have to be something sexualized, and that you just wearing a simple bathing suit
Mhm.
just means you're wearing a bathing suit. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else to it.
Yeah, and that's it, that's what it is.
I can't even, I don't have words right now. I'm just like, I'm in love with the way you are. It's so amazing. It just really is
Thank
so,
you.
you are such a deep and empathetic person. And I just,
You are too. You're amazing. You're just as amazing. When we have conversations, I know that you're genuinely really invested in our conversation. And not very many people can be like that. Not very many people can be give a real honest eye contact. Not very many people will show affection, empathy, and can connect. And that's what I love, and I appreciate that.
my heart. Thank
My heart.
Oh my gosh. I have wanted to ask you, there was a project that you did, and I don't know what it was called. God, look at how unprepared I came. But the project, I knew one of the other girls in the project, and it was like women of color. So you guys had
Oh,
on the black shirts and the jeans, and then you had on the white
oh
shirts and the
yeah,
jeans.
stronger
Tell me about
together.
that. What was that?
Okay, so I was asked literally probably 2 nights before that. I don't know any of these women, any of them.
Yeah.
I get it from the person that was kind of like creating it and putting it together. She's like, I came across your page, and I get stuff like that all the time. And I had to go check her page out, had to make sure she was legit.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I'm interested. When were we meeting? She gave an actual location. She was like, these are the people that will be coming. And I
Yeah.
said, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, not in a freaking empty house, but I already knew where the studio was. I was like, okay, that's a legitimate studio. And she said, we're meeting at 10 tomorrow. I said, okay, perfect. I will be there. It was in the daytime. And I just had faith that, no, this is something that I need to be a part of. I didn't know what I was walking myself into, but I got emotional there because one of the shots where one of the girls had put up her face, oh, I lost it. I freaking lost it. And we all gave a hug, and I don't know any of these women, but I just told them, thank you guys so much for even thinking of me. And they were like, I go, I told the girl, well, why did you even choose me? She was like, she's like, I've been sitting on your page for a little bit, and I knew I wanted to work with you. And when this came up, I had to pull you on board. And I just thought, wow,
It's a
thank you.
testament to who you are.
I
Because,
was like,
yeah, you are freaking amazing. So there's that.
I'm like, yes. So we went over there, it was it was very inspiring. And when the video came out, I cried and I showed my mom. She was like, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And so many people were like, wow, and I tell people, I really kind of move in silence when I do stuff like this because I don't want to boast about work that I'm doing. I just want the work to come out and then have people say what they need to say, and have my work just kind of show out. But this was something bigger than me. I mean, of course, with everything going on,
Mhm.
it definitely was a must, especially for here in Salt Lake. And these women, I got their handles, and they were telling me some of the things that they're going to be doing. And I thought, I want to be a part of it. Let me know how I can help. Let me know what I can do to help you. And so
Well,
one of the girls, she's having a launch party, and I was like, I'm there.
yeah, nice. What was the objective of that project?
It's something that she said was that women, we need to come together, band together, strong women, and we need to support our each other, especially with with the Black Lives Matter, because I'm all for that. A lot of people, especially at my job, aren't for it, but I let it be known because I'm like, I'm a really good employee here.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a person of color, so let's shut it the hell up. But
Girl.
but I
Oh.
had to, when we were there, I've been going to the protests, and I haven't been really putting, because I don't bring my phone out when I'm at the protests.
Yeah.
I'm in the moment,
Yeah.
And I had a couple people put me up and like, oh, you have such a big platform. You should be out there protesting. I go, just for your FYI, I don't feel that I have to show you that I'm going to these protests, and that I have to show you that I've made,
It's
I
not
wear my,
performative.
yeah. And I tell them, but just for your information, every time I enter a store, I say Black Lives Matter. Every time I exit a store, I say Black Lives Matter. Every time I get in my car, I have my Black Lives Matter on my face. So don't go there with me.
Right.
And although I didn't feel adequate enough to protest, I was like, no, I'm still gonna go, because I have cousins who are from the Black community who are Black. And so I felt it very stupid if I sat here and didn't go to the protests. So I've gone to a total, and I've never gone to a protest, but I've gone to a total of 6. And each and every one of them were very important. And I wish that Salt Lake was more into it than other states.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that people would educate them damn selves, because even still to this day, I am constantly at work, like researching different things, people from history. Like we literally, the freaking school, yeah, they freaking shot that. I don't know where they got their information. They made it up themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So because I follow, what I've made a point on social media is that I will only like and comment on Black creators' projects. I know that sounds really stupid, but if you think of the algorithm, it helps to boost the Black creators and pushes their projects up to the top when you're doing that. And so on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, I'm only watching things from Black creators so that I can push them up to the top of the algorithm. I think people in that, although I'm not in the protests in other states, which I wish I could, I think that really helps to be in solidarity, to speak, to have that voice. I may not have a big voice in the matter, but I am making strides to be part of that, and to let my Black brothers and sisters know that I am doing all I can to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And to F everybody else, because if someone wants to catch these hands, yeah, send me your location.
Drop a pin. Drop a pin.
Drop a pin, because I'm not even in the mood for that.
Wow, you know what? That's like the thing that I appreciate. It's always, a lot of people will jump in your DMs, jump in your messages, jump in anywhere and tell you, well, why aren't you taking set? Why haven't you said anything? And for me, I always think, hey, do you also have an account? You might not have the same kind of platform, but why don't you say it, right?
Right.
Say what you want to say. I don't need to speak for you, because again, we're not a monolith. But the other thing is, the fact that you've thought this through, like you're fighting the algorithms. That's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful.
And I always put the hashtags that are for Black creators. I've done that too. I even didn't spend money on 4th of July, from the 4th of July to the 7th of July, to be in solidarity.
Right.
Because
part of that was that I didn't have any money, but no, I'm kidding.
No, but I told my sister, because my sister did it with me too. My dad was like, oh, let's go out to eat. And I was like, nope, I can eat Simene here. I told you guys that I'm not spending money because I want to support my Black brothers and sisters. And it did do numbers. Amazon, here in Salt Lake, they usually have thousands upon thousands and thousands of their next day air stuff that they need to deliver. They only had 1,000.
Well, that's like one airplane. You
And I'm
really
like,
gotta get stuff out. That's not a lot. Yeah.
it's not a lot. And I felt like we showed them out, like we, without the Black community and those who support the Black community and that stood with that, they're dumb if the government really thinks that they can get away with stuff. Like, nah, like I'm not about that.
Well,
And
they have
if,
for so long, and that's part of it. They have for so
yeah,
long, without consequence.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit here and let that happen. Like, if like when we did our one that I led, okay, not that many people showed up, okay, but people still came. And I was laughing with my friend. I was like, we're garbage. And we did so we did a die-in, and then we sat at the front, and some of my friends who are from the Black community had just, kind of spoke about their run-ins, and I got to meet the founder of Black Lives Matter here in Utah. Her
Nice.
name is Alex. She's amazing. And she just talked about how us being part of the Polynesian community, she said, it's not Black lives, it's Black, brown. We are one and the same. And I agree.
Yeah.
And even when I research, people don't realize this, but Captain Hook went to all the Pacific Islands. And because the Pacific Islands, they weren't sure what we were, so they gathered us as Black too. Yeah. So they would gather only the women, and they would lure them to the boats, and they would bring them to America, and impregnated them, and therefore having babies. And then also, some of those women even had babies with Black men, with the Black slaves. And so I tell people, like, my dad, he's still pretty old school, but when he talks about like, oh, that's none of our business, and I go, it's none of our business. Yeah. I was like, did you know that they enslaved many of our Polynesian women too, because they thought that we were Black too? And he's like, what? That's not true. And I go, yes, it is. They would bring stuff to the islands, and they would lure the women, and they would tell the people, oh, we're going to educate them, and we're going to teach them English. No, they would rape and beat the women if they didn't speak English.
That even shows, that part shows up in a lot of films depicting Captain Cook coming to the islands.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you dumb? And I said, because they're colonizers, they would bring these items and speak so fancy to them. And our people were so blinded by it, they would allow them to take and they weren't even women. A lot of them were girls. They were just girls.
Young, yeah.
And I said, and you wonder why? I was just telling my dad, I was just like, the education system is broken, because also too, I found out this week that Rosa Parks was not the first Black woman that actually.
Second, the first one, they didn't like her backstory too much.
Well, yeah, because she was 15 and she was pregnant.
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, so she still should have been named the first Black woman that stood. And I'm like, okay, that's again freaking stupid. I don't know. I've just been really into redoing my history and learning all this stuff. So I just really hope that people get on board, because I'm sorry, the evolution is already underway. So get your ass together and get on board. Yeah. Or you're going to miss it.
I don't know how you can miss it today, but that might be a miracle in and of itself. I keep looking at it, and I'm like, if you don't support the specific group, Black Lives Matter,
right?
At least try to understand the concept, right?
Right.
The concept is really not even that difficult. But the other side of it is like, and I've pointed this out to some people, not too often, because I don't want to engage all the time. But a lot of Black people know and understand that when it comes to like the order of things, Black is at the bottom. But what happens if the bottom it comes up? Everybody
Right.
comes up, right? If you
Right.
can treat one group fairly, someone that you struggle to treat fairly, if you can come around to that, you can probably come around to treating other people with more humanity. If you can
Right.
open your eyes to how this is not working out and you fix that problem becomes fixed for not just one subset of people. It becomes better for everybody.
I know. And think about how much like, I know COVID did not play into the government's hands very well because look, now all this sex trafficking, human trafficking, children trafficking, it's all coming to face, and they happen to be the very well rich people who run this world.
Yes.
And I'm like, are you guys dumb? Like,
Like
wake
all,
up, people, wake up.
all your secrets are coming out. Like all
Right.
of them are coming out. Yeah.
And
And
what a time to be living though, right? To be part of such a historical thing.
yeah. And I keep looking at it. I look at all of these things, and there are people like, for you, the things that come up are not like some big shock. You've already spoken on them before for years,
Yeah,
right? I feel like a lot of the times it's the people who just wanted to deny that anything was happening. I just don't want to
absolutely.
see it. I don't want to see it. And now it's in front of their face to the point that they can't ignore it.
Avoid it.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're shocked and surprised. Everything is like a shock and a surprise. And everything requires a scoff and a like, but these problems have been here for a long time. So what you're
I
admitting to right now is that you just chose to not see any of them. Or
exactly.
you just chose to believe that everything was perfect and there was no way that things could be going wrong. But
Someone made a comment the
mhm,
other day on social media and said, "Yeah, you guys think that it's going to be an evolution, but I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get colored people back to being slaves." When they said that, oh, I was hot. I was like, "Come again?
yeah,
Say that one more time, girl. You don't even know what you're talking about." Like,
it wasn't
everything's
somebody you knew personally, was it?
oh, if it was, best believe I'd probably be in jail for sure.
Okay.
But
I was like, 'cause you and I know all the same people, so
I was like, because you probably would have seen it and be like,
yeah,
"Excuse me."
yeah.
Um,
It's such an interesting thing. It's interesting when people are like, they can put you down, but then when it comes time for them and their need of your sympathy and your empathy, they will come with their hands open, waiting for you to give what they refuse to give themselves.
absolutely, I freaking agree to that wholeheartedly.
It's like a terrible and a dangerous way to live. You ask for what you're not willing to give.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
yeah,
Exactly what it is. And um, there are so many people that are not about the Black Lives Matter that will say, well, you guys should just be grateful that you guys live in you have your freedom. And I said, no, this is a stolen land to indigenous people.
yeah,
And I'm part of being indigenous. I'm part of the people you call colored, because I myself am colored.
yeah,
And but right now, the race that we're fighting for is black.
yeah,
And I just need people to wake the hell up. Like, wake the hell up. Stop thinking that we're just gonna go through life avoiding the situation, because it's either gonna get the hell better or it's gonna get worse. But right now, I feel like we're on to such a an evolution. Like, there's just gonna be, I don't know, but I'm really into the energy, and I feel like something big is gonna happen, and it's going to be okay. I've been speaking with my friends that are like witches. I know that's really weird, but that's what I mean when I say I'm super free spirited and I'm super into whatever. And my friend, she was like telling me, she was like reading cards the other day, and she was saying like, I keep coming up with the same card and that we're gonna win. And I was like, can I just say that I love that you say that we're gonna win? And she's like, because we are. We're gonna win. It's gonna happen.
yeah,
And I just love that she tells me that, because it's I can only imagine what you and so many other people of the Black community go through. Like, I mean, I get racially profiled, but it's way different when it comes to a Black person. It's way different. And when I travel to the East Coast, they are not sure what I am. So
I know, I know.
they think that I'm Black, and I'm like, I'm actually Samoan, but
Yeah.
thank you for thinking I'm Black. But to someone else who is ignorant, we're all the same. And I think so too. We are all the same. But are we treated is the Black community being treated as they should? No, absolutely not. And for someone to be so mad and angry and sickened by the thought of someone's color of their skin is,
It's like, what happened? How did you
it's
get here?
like, and it's like, we didn't, like, the Black people didn't enslave you. Like, you took them from their home, brought them to another place, a stolen land, and enslaved them. Didn't pay them. You worked them to the freaking bone, would beat them, even sometimes impregnate them. I don't know. Girl, can you tell that I've been reading a lot lately?
Yes.
I don't know. I think about this all the time. It's like, get it through your heads. This isn't going to be over. We're still going to fight.
And that's the thing. It's like, once this ball is rolling, the ball is rolling. It's like, you could just resolve this, because it's not something like, I honestly, and maybe this is kind of doomsday of me, but I don't honestly feel like people are going to change. I don't think people are going to change, because people stay the same day in, day out, year after year, right?
Right.
But there are people who have the life in them, because they still have plenty of time on the earth, and who have the desire to see something different. If you think about the time, the riots that came during the civil rights movement,
yeah,
there's a lot of young people. They were criticized all the time because the young people were out of school, out there and marching in the streets. It's the young people who will end up making the difference. For me, I always feel like all I got to do is just keep the road clear so they can get through. That's it. You're going to make the change. Let me just keep the road as clear as I can so you can get through. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah. I don't necessarily look to anybody else to change, because I think they will, maybe there'll be some self-examination. There might be a little bit of movement, but I'm not expecting a lot socially. But in the law, I'm expecting that there will be change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because they've already seen what the whole world is on fire over this whole thing.
Yeah.
So for nothing to change with the law, are you kidding me? Well, I know that the economy felt that. Yeah, I know that the economy felt that when they seen that so many people didn't spend money. That one day, I even looked at the stock markets too.
Did they drop?
Nothing. Yeah. Oh.
They're like,
drop.
what's happening here? See? And for me, I'm just like, hey, you can keep feeling the pain as long as you want to. But the change that's being asked for really is not so much, I need you to change your heart. It's more like, the rules have got to change. The rules have got to change.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even when I go to a store, if someone's staring at me, I go, are you okay? Do I owe you something?
Yeah.
And either someone will, the people that say something is just like, oh, I follow you on Instagram, or they'll be like, no, or they won't say anything at all. Because I won't stand for it. I will not.
Yeah.
I don't want my nieces, my nephews to ever think that that's going to be okay to be treated like that.
Right.
And I'll confront it right then and there. And a lot of my cousins are like, why do you have to be like that? And I'm like, well, because if you're not, then
if you accept it, you accept it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you can accept that, but
yeah,
I'm like, not me, girl. No.
Exactly. But okay, so let's bring this full circle then. Let's go back to this world of fashion. You did that project. It was beautiful. It was so well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
I was
you,
like,
you.
what? Oh, I know her. Yo, I know her. I have no friends, so I don't know who I'm talking to, but I I know her. But then, okay, so then I started to see your photography coming out on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about this whole fashion show that's coming up. Tell me everything
So,
you can that you think is worth telling me about right now.
well, um, we have no money to fund this. Buki and I are coming out with our own money to use for this.
Yeah,
That's how bad I want it. That's exactly how bad we want it.
yeah,
We've definitely got come in contact with people to try to help endorse this, and I we got our first no, and I let it get to me so bad. I was like, "You let me think out that thought out email,
yeah.
and I poured my heart and soul to it, and you told me no. You know what? Stop." And I'm still looking for, but it's not gonna stop me from anything.
Mhm.
And then also the models that we use, many of them are not from the casting, they're from the community.
Yeah,
And I've been loving it. At first I wasn't gonna do that. Then I thought, no, but the page will suffer. Like not everybody can come every weekend. So we still have like people that are waiting on the list to be a part of this,
yeah.
you know? And so I told them, let's get them in the photos. Let's do photo. I'm doing photo shoots during the week and the weekend.
That's a lot,
It is a lot.
right?
I'm exhausted.
Photography
I
is
can
a
even
lot
say
of work.
it is.
Of work.
I'm not the best at it. I'm not the best at it, but I picked up
You got
tips
some pretty
from.
strong skills, though.
Why, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've picked up a lot of stuff along the way, and I kind of just read stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and I kind of learn from there. But this fashion show is really um my business partner Buki, we're using her clothing line because she's the one that has a plus size clothing line.
What is it called?
And it's called Playable.
Yes, I saw that today. Playable. It looks
Yeah. And
nice.
so, and yeah, she has great clothes, and we shot a photo shoot for some of the items that we had one of the models model for her.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I love, like I said, I love going off of the vibe. So when I can have a model that's there and she's totally free, like, okay, put me where you need me,
Yeah,
and she's down, and I can just go off the vibe. And I love when a lot of the women tell me too, like, thank you for making me feel comfortable, for making me feel confident. And I'm just like, that's what I am. And when I was on a podcast, she asked me, what would you call yourself? Like a director? Would you call yourself a boss? And I said, I wouldn't even call myself that. I call myself the hype man. And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, my name in life is the hype man. I
right.
love to help people. That's what it's always been for me.
Yeah,
And my business partner's husband, when we had sat down and talked about finances, particularly to this event, how we're going to pay it, what are we going to charge people? Are we going to charge people? He said, okay, what's your cut? He asked me, how much do you want for your cut? And I said, cut of what? He's like, how much would we be paying you
it.
back? You know,
Yeah.
have profits. And I said, I don't want any of that money. And he was like, so what are you doing this for? And I just told him, um, everybody's got me wrong. I'm doing this really for the mere fact of really pushing for everybody to get their bag. And I said, I won't know exactly what I want to do as career wise,
Mhm.
but I know that when this fashion show happens, that my career will be started. Like someone, I have this huge affirmation that someone will contact me during this event and will want to work with me.
Yeah,
So I know for sure that it will be, I don't know what it is, but I have that big feeling. I keep having the same reoccurring dream.
yeah.
And so
Where's your feeling?
yeah, and I told her husband, I was like, I don't want anything. I don't even want money. If I pay for anything for this, I don't want someone to be like, give me your receipts, we're gonna pay you back. I don't want that,
Yeah.
because then they take the passion away from everything I'm doing, and then it won't be fun anymore.
Isn't
When
that
you
the great
add,
thing about money? Like sometimes if that's what you lead with, it like drains the joy out of the project.
yes, I told my business partner that although I'm physically tired, Um, I think with me leading with my heart and with passion, it's why I can stay up all night and why I can push out all this stuff and content and keep having the energy. Because if you were to tell me, oh, we're going to pay you, it then becomes a chore. It then becomes something that I'm going to dread.
Yeah.
It then takes away from the passion, my drive to do this, it takes away so much. So I don't want that stripped away over something, over some green, over some money.
Yeah.
So this thing is like my baby. I treat it as such. And if someone, I mean, would you want someone to pay for your kids, like give you money for your baby? No. So why would I want that
I
for my
know that dilemma. I know that dilemma. When you feel like when it becomes a job, when anything turns into a job versus, you know, a creation, it just makes it so tedious. Yeah. You
yeah.
don't want
And
to.
then I can't fully be myself. I can't fully go there creatively.
Mhm.
So for me, if I'm not thinking about the money, if I'm focusing on my passion, which is being with these women, empowering them, being the hype man that I know that I am,
Yeah.
then it's something different. And that's what I want it to be. And if someone tries to change that,
Yeah.
some people don't get me, and that's fine. People don't have to understand me, but just know that
You have a way
that's
to do
not
things.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not part of my
And
process.
money is just, money comes and goes, and money can always be made, you can, but money just won't make this enjoyable, won't make this a great experience for anybody.
Right.
Um, and I love when the girls, when the models, when the women say, man, I had so much fun today. I needed that. I love hanging out with you guys. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Not like, how much am I going to get paid for this? When are you guys going to have my money?
Yeah.
No one wants to stress over that.
Absolutely. I'm like keeping the extra words that I would normally say. Like, let me just keep that.
But that's why I'm doing this, is because had I had this 10 years ago, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
But I know that I had to have gone through all of this to be able to be strong enough to do what I'm doing now.
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes. Your story is what built you. It's what created you.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm still in the growing stage. Like, there's no age for you to stop growing. This world has so much to give, and
Mhm.
it's up to you how much you want to take from it, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. So what
I don't want to take everything, but I want to take something.
well, what comes next when it comes to your fashion show? What's next? What is the next
Um,
step that has to happen? Where are you at?
right now, COVID has to happen. COVID has to be gone for this thing to be a thing that we want. We want to have it 500 people. Right now, I can't say the names of some of these people, but just know that they are famous people and they want to work with us. And what a mind-blowing thing,
Yeah.
like, so I want to be able to put ourselves to where, because some women, some of these models, they really want to be models, like paid models. They want to
Yeah.
do something to really get paid for it, and I want to help them in any way I can. I tag plus size agencies, like I hashtag so that other people can see. I mean,
Yeah.
we've only been doing this had the page since April. We're almost to 900 followers, and that's because a lot of people, they are just supporting. They're supporting, and I cannot say, like, I'm just so grateful and thankful that everybody supports this. I don't want to be the main face of this thing. That's not me. But I do want people to know that I my I along with my sister and Buki, we work our asses off for this.
Yeah. You really do. You
And
really
so
do. I love it.
so me too. We love it too.
Let's just cross our fingers and get COVID out of here and oh I can't wait for the show because I'm coming. I'll be there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at Ashley Auvaa, um, or you can find us on the plus size, the PLS Fashion Show 2020, and you can find us on there. Oh, you can also find me on TikTok, where I also display our videos of our plus size women.
I just deleted the app. I need to get it back. I was just in space. What do you put in your TikTok videos? What are there?
So I just kind of everything dances. I'm gonna be putting out more content in regards to the fashion show
Mm-hmm.
because I want more women to know what we're doing, and I also want them to be a part of it in any way that they can.
Yeah.
So there's so much stuff we have. We're gonna be starting to do like weekly videos and just a whole lot of stuff that creatively we're coming out with, and we want to help to entice the all women to be a part of it.
Great.
We're about everybody can do it, even part of anybody from our LGBT community. I even have a trans female who is walking with us as well.
Nice. Probably gonna
Yeah,
slay. Absolutely.
slay,
Yes.
yeah. But
Yes.
that's where people can find us, and if you have any questions, hit us up. We're always open and willing to work with people who are down with us.
You are so amazing. I love you so much. Can't say
I freaking love you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for being willing to come and talk and share your heart, because essentially you really just poured out your heart for me, for everybody who is going to experience this and recognize that Ashley Auvaa is like, what, from the 90s, the bomb diggity, right? There you go. I'm gonna bring
Yeah,
it.
you should say that. I love that.
Love you so much.